I want to thank you for chairing this very important committee, and I thank our Chairman Westerman, Ranking Member Grijalva for taking this so seriously. The fact that we're having this hearing, that we're all here, that we've set up this committee, that we're engaged, shows that we agree with Ambassador Yun that this is a very vital issue with all of you. If there was no China, this would still be an important and good thing to do. The fact that China is trying to spread its influence in malign and negative ways makes this even more important, though. I do have some concerns with the way things stand right now, and I know these have been addressed in previous statements already, but the open-ended eligibility for various U.S. programs makes the final cost hard to pin down, and that's a concern to me. There are not enough guardrails, I believe, in place to prevent potential mismanagement. You probably all saw the article in the Wall Street Journal about the Bikini Atoll and how trust funds were depleted faster than people thought they should have been, and pointing to potential mismanagement. We have to prevent that from happening in the future, whether it's for an entire country or for a subdivision within that country. Also, I want to see the Department of Defense more engaged. You've said some good things in your testimony today and in Senate testimony earlier, but I want to see you very engaged in helping get this through Congress. You have to tell people that, members of Congress, that this is important for our national security, and you have an authoritative voice to make that happen, and I'd like to see that happen. And finally, I have a huge concern that money transfers, as good as they are, as positive as they are, if they're open-ended, they may not accomplish what we want them to accomplish. I would love to see the money that's given out over the next 20 years create jobs, lead to better infrastructure, and just more prosperity. And I mentioned infrastructure because China uses that leverage to do deals with countries, and they trick countries. They use shoddy construction. They use bribery to get the deals passed in the first place. They use Chinese labor a lot of times, not local labor, and they impose debt on the recipient that's a burden for years in the future. So to prevent, apart from all the national security things that China is doing that's troubling, my heart goes out to people where they have had these bad deals, and they don't give away something for nothing. They're not like the U.S. The U.S. is not perfect, but we are very generous, and China does not do anything out of generosity. They always want more back than what they give. So, Ambassador Yun, can more be done in the language and in the deal to create jobs and infrastructure and things like this that would prevent China from getting a foothold in the future with the hearts and minds of the people of these three important countries?
Absolutely, sir. I think I firmly believe our assistance must lead to sustainable economic future for them. And so this is why we've concentrated heavily on infrastructure investment and education. Those are the keys, we believe. And of course, the third one is health. So our oversight rate, in fact, if you look at our FPA, that's Fiscal Procedures Agreement, is 40 pages long. I mean, if you have problems sleeping, I urge you to read that. But it has a very, very strong oversight.
Okay, let me interrupt because my time's about over. Will that language that you just referred to prevent the kind of problems that we read about in the newspapers?
Absolutely, because our trust funds are materially different. United States maintains control of our trust fund through our voting rights in the trust fund committee, which is decided. The trust fund just went belly up in Marshall Island, was a resettlement trust fund, which had been managed since late 90s, since about 2017 by the local government in Marshall Island. So that was the problem that we did indeed give up the management rights to that trust fund.
Okay, thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair.